Straiton Community Hall was opened in 1958, and at that time it wasn't just a community club that was meant to bring people together and to provide a sense of belonging. It was also put together by the Straiton Recreation Commission, who wanted to provide sports and dancing and other recreational activities for the community, because we're so far out here from the major centers. Today we have our Heritage Tea that is an annual event. We're going to see the basic story of how Straiton was founded and who lived here and what brought them here. And we're going to see some beautifully restored antique clocks by Mr. Helen Holman. He is a skilled woodworker who just happened to take up repairing old clocks, and he just happens to be very good at it. And he's brought some today to show us. We have all kinds of little exhibits around the hall that are stories of local families and pioneer tools and toys to try out. In addition, this year we have 2 students who did heritage projects on local families, the Jones family and the Straiton family that our community is named after.
So his great-great-uncle, Howard Jones of Straiton, was in the Seaforth Highlanders during the Second World War. It is in the same regiment that Gerard is in as a cadet. He plays the bagpipes, and he just got his level 3 at a camp in Alberta. His commanding officer and the chair of the sponsoring committee has given permission for Jared to be in uniform to play the bagpipes for us today.
Yeah, my name is Helen Holman, and I repair clocks as a hobby. And I first started doing just the woodwork on them, but the last 2 years I've been doing the mechanics because I find it so interesting. 6 months ago I got this one, and the works on it was all rusty. Anyway, I cleaned it up and got it going. I had to buy a new pendulum, new weights. So you can see the new weights in there, a new pendulum. And then when I got it first going, I got it ticking like that, and it was ticking. And the clock was actually made in 1740, and I got it going again. I was so proud of that one. This one here, one of the first ones I done, I re-stripped it and completely got it going. It's striking right now. Favorite? Yeah, my favorite is this one. It's a French carriage clock, and it's got the case to it, which is very rare with the case because most of the cases didn't survive.
Hi, I'm Jared. This is my great-great-grandfather, Thomas Bell Straiton. He was the one who created the whole community, as we all know today, Straiton. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't have been a community. He was born 1869, Port Union, Ontario. He was a photographer, so he had his own shop. These are photos that he took of 2 people, and photo that he took of the Vancouver lacrosse team. His Photoshop burned down. It burned down, so he had no job. He was surveying, so they went up the Fraser River, went surveying. There was this piece of land he wanted, but it was already sold. Then he got this, and then he asked for his second choice, 160 acres land, and he bought it. And he went back to Ontario and got rich and married his wife, Mary Ellen May. And they moved back to here right away. And they built their first cabin. A year later, they lost it to a fire. So they had to move with the family, live there for a few months, and then they had their first child, Ella Straiton. He was the first original person to live on that land. Most people moved back to wherever they lived before. They just stayed there for like a few months. Since there wasn't a school yet, they had to have one at their house. They started a church. They had a church in there, and at the back of their house, they had a general store. He'd be most known for his general store and his helping on the mountain, pretty much.
My name's Morrison. This project is about my great-grandpa Guy surviving three boat crashes, but the most famous boat incident that he was on was the sinking of the Laconia. It was very important that he survived on the Laconia, because if he didn't survive on the Laconia, it wouldn't likely that he would have been he wouldn't survive. He wouldn't have been married. He wouldn't have any kids, etc. I wouldn't have been here. None of this would have happened. So it was very important that he have survived three boat crashes and survived through the war. He was a very important man, also a nice man, who served in the Royal Canadian Navy, and he fought against the Germans. And he was on three different boats. One was sunk by mines. The other one was destroyed by a plane dropping bombs. And the third one was a famous incident, was the Laconia sinking. And the torpedoes that Captain Werner Hartenstein used were about like this big, and it only took 2 missiles to sink the Laconia, and there was only 35 minutes to leave the Laconia. It wasn't a lot of time, because there were people freaking out, and there was like about 2,000 to 3,000 people on board that ship. But Captain Werner Hartenstein thought there was only just a couple hundred people or 100 people on the ship with some ammunition. Hitler ordered him to not help the survivors. If he ignored Hitler. If he obeyed Hitler, then it wouldn't have been likely that my great-grandpa Guy would have survived at sea. And if he wouldn't have survived, like I already said, none of this would have happened. I wouldn't have been here.
Last item, the donor recognition. The mission of our club is actually to instill pride in our heritage and to build and maintain a community spirit through programs and events. Without the help of the Optimist Club of Abbotsford and the community businesses, we would not be able to provide the programs that we do. The Abbotsford News, Star 98, Country 107.1, the International Internet Advertising Services, and a number of businesses and individual donors help us each and every year. Please note the 2014-2015 donor recognition list is at the front of the hall, and help us support our sponsors. The Straiton Community Club acknowledges and appreciates each donor and every volunteer, past and present. Thank you very much.